Well, good morning and welcome again to the Sunday experience at Unity of Birdie. We are very, very happy to host this on a weekly basis, and thank you so much for joining us today. We specifically reach out and have historically reached out to our group, our outreach group, the Pathlighters. And so for all of you who are with us, once again, thank you so much for being with us again today. We're all family, and for those of you who are also joining us as well as the Pathlighters, we want to be sure that you understand we're open, we're affirming, we're here for you, we're here for our friends, we're here for our family. Thank you so much. If you should feel so inclined, it would be greatly appreciated if you could drop a little donation by tapping on the button there at the, I believe it's at the
very top
of the page. So please, we would enjoy the service. Today we're going to be brought a little bit of light from Reverend Birdie Shawker, and so our regular pastor, Jay Mulkey, gets to have his periodic day off, and so we're happy to have Reverend Shawker, who's been with us multiple times before. We're sure you're going to enjoy the message today. So with no further ado, we'll go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ann King. We've got India here again doing the music. We're always happy to have her. Marlon is on the PowerPoint, and Tom's running the camera, of course, and Joe is going to be our usher today. So we're happy to have all of you here. And we're going to start by singing our joy song, In the Garden. Please stand up.
I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear of the love in my ear, the Son of God discloses. And He walks with me, and He talks with me, and He tells me I am His own. And the joy we share as we carry there, none other has ever known. He speaks, and the sound of His voice is so sweet, the birds are just singing, and the melody that He gave to me within my heart is free. Stay in the garden with Him, though the night around me be falling. The bids me go in the voice of woe, His voice to me is calling. And He walks with me, and He talks with me, and He tells me I am His own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known.
Thank you. Please be seated. And if this is your first time here, we would like you to stand up and tell us your name and where you're from. So could we start with you, Leslie?
I'm Leslie Slayton. I live in McKinney.
McKinney.
Hi, I'm Lana Bartley, and I guess I officially moved into Birdie today, or Fredericksburg today. So, and we just drove down yesterday. So.
Nice to have you. All right. Inside your bulletin, you'll find a prayer request form for any prayer requests you might have, and you're welcome to drop those in the box as it goes by. or put them in later in the service. You can put them in before the service, you can put them in after the service, or any other time you happen to be up here. Our prayer team prays for them for a week, and they're also sent to Silent Unity, where they are prayed over for a month. And as far as our announcements, one of them is that we have Birdie Shawker here today. Most of you know her. She's a member of our church, and she's been coming for years now, I guess,
Yes,
to be guest speaker. And Jay, we have, when we have 5 Sundays in a month, we make Jay take a day off. I think you just didn't come, but we make him. But Birdie currently serves at the Conley Memorial Medical Center as a staff chaplain. And here at Unity of Birdie, she's our social media director. And along with Jay, she co-founded and facilitates Pathlighters, which is an online spiritual community that meets weekly to pray and meditate. And she served at Unity of San Antonio for 8 years as their communications coordinator. Prior to this, she was with a youth and family ministry director at Unity Spiritual Center in San Angelo. And she has completed a course of study in, what is it now?
Clinical pastoral care.
Clinical pastoral care. Okay. Very proud of her. So let's see what we have in announcements. This is the last Sunday of the month. We always tell you to leave the jackets behind, and we reuse them on your order of service, but this time you can take everything, the insert and the jackets if you want it. And we do have July and August daily words on that back table under the chalkboard. They're free, so if you haven't picked one up, take one because it starts tomorrow. And we always collect dry goods and toiletries and things to pass on to the organizations in our community that help people less fortunate. And that basket is just outside the door every Sunday. We're having lunch at El Rio today, and I think right now we have 12 people signed up. And I think everybody here I've talked to, we may get a couple more before church is over, but if you told me no and decided you want to come, let me know and we'll add you to it. If you are a member and have not received a copy of our membership manual, Kathy Brown is here today and you can talk to her about that and she'll get that for you. They are just beautiful. I mean, they have pictures and interchangeable things, so as people move or change or need to change their information, they can. Sherry Thurman is starting the women's luncheon again. We had that for years and years and years, and then somewhere along the line, it might have been COVID, it stopped. But it is going to be scheduled for the 3rd Wednesday of every month at 11 a.m. It will change restaurants periodically, but the first one is going to be El Chaparral, and that is July 17th. And I think the information is there in your order of service. You need to make reservations with her, but Patricia will also that Monday be sending out a reminder of the luncheon with the contact information too, but she does need an RSVP so she knows how big of a table to reserve for us. And I'm really excited about that starting. That was always a lot of fun. Also too, I have started an Edgar Casey group, which is not the normal Search for God group. It is something very different. We have it on the 2nd and 4th Fridays of the month from 10 to 11:30. Our first meeting we had 10 people. Our second meeting we had 15 people. And it's very interesting book discussion stuff, discussion not only from books but from other places. So anyway, if you want to come, let me know. I'll put you on the list because I do send out an RSVP to the people on the list only, and you do need to make reservations so I know whether to set up that room or this room. And anyway, it's been well attended, so I'm thankful that that's going well. We also have a Sunday morning book discussion from 9:30 to 10:30 in this other room. Right now we're studying the 21 Skills of Spiritual Intelligence, which is a wonderful read. We read a little, we talk a lot, and it's a lot of fun. So hopefully sometimes you can come to that. You don't have to have a book to get started, but if you want one, it is available on Amazon, both in hardback, Kindle, and Audible. So, if you're here for the first time and you want to get our weekly emails, or if you are a regular that's not getting the weekly emails telling you what's going on for the coming Sunday, there is a sign-in sheet under the chalkboard back there, and just put your name and your email address, and then you will get those hopefully. And if you put your name down a couple times you're not getting them, please check your spam. And if you're HCTC, your server, you're not going to get them because they won't let constant contact come through. So I don't know what to tell you about that, other than you can put a different email address. So let's see. We have several ongoing activities via Zoom that are listed in your order of service, and also beginning, if it's not on there now, beginning next month, we should have the Women's Luncheon and the Edgar Casey group that are not Zoom, they are live meetings, but those activities on Zoom are in your order of service. They're on your insert, and it's got information on how to get on. You can also always look at our website, which is unityofbernie.org. Yeah, okay. All right. So let's see. We're now going to have the Daily Word by Ann Gully. You need help pulling up?
No, I'm okay. Comfortable picking. It's going down.
It's going down.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
As we quietly and gently prepare for the reading of the Daily Word, remember that we're in spirit with millions of Daily Word readers and churches throughout the world. The Christ candle is lit as a reminder of the Spirit of God within all of us, which we call the Christ within. The word for today is world peace. The affirmation is affirming the divinity of all peoples, of all the world's people. I envision world peace. Peace is meant for every person of every faith in every land. Today, I look beyond the news of the world, reports of strife and conflict, even the agitation and unforgiveness in my own heart, and find the peace of God. I believe the desire for lasting peace is within each person's heart. In prayer, I affirm this truth and envision this desire growing stronger among the world's people until peace can no longer be denied. It is our shared destiny to live in peace. When each person wants for all people what they want for themselves, harmony then will blanket the earth. I affirm the peace I wish for myself is dawning in the hearts of others. In prayer, I see them safe and secure in the heart of God, forever at peace. And this comes from 2 Thessalonians 3:16. Now may the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times and all ways. The Lord be with all of you. The affirmation again is affirming the divinity of all the world's people. I envision world peace. Thank you for worshiping with us in Unity of Bernie family. Tom?
Thank you, Ann.
I just want to be sure. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Please stand for our miracle moment, and we will say that together. The joy of the Lord is my strength and the foundation of my being. I affirm that every worthy desire of my heart is realized under grace and in a perfect way. My good is at hand, and so it is. Please remain standing for our next song, Onward, Ever Onward.
Onward, ever onward, marching evermore, with love's healing message ever to the fore. Truth our own we stand no foe. Forward, ever forward, see those banner go. Onward, ever onward, marching ever on, with love's healing message ever to the fore. Like the changeless ocean is the truth of God. Upward we are spreading evermore, with love's healing message ever to the fore. Onward, ever onward, till all men are free. We shall see faith triumph, God's great jubilee. Glory in the highest, unto Christ within. This through countless ages is the song we sing. Onward, ever onward, marching ever on, with love's healing message ever to the fore.
Thank you. And now we're going to have our opening prayer, which we will say together.
Unity of Bernie is a vibrant, loving, spiritual community, providing a sacred space for personal growth. We honor and celebrate Christ within all people.
Thank you. Please be seated. And could we have someone bring up the prayer request box in the back? And Birdie, I'm going to turn this over to you now.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you. If anybody has any prayer requests ready, they can put it in as Joe goes by.
Right, and as many of you know, these prayer requests are held in prayer here by our prayer team and also forwarded to Silent Unity, which is in Missouri, a beautiful, beautiful prayer ministry where it's lovingly held in prayer 24/7 for 30 days. One of our facilitators for Pathlighters is a Buddhist, and so I would like you to join me in a little bit of a different way of praying today, in that we're going to dedicate our prayer practice. That's the only way it's different, and I would like to dedicate our prayer practice today to the honoring of Reverend Jay and his wife Janet's birthday, which is on the 1st of July, correct?
Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. It's
Yes.
tomorrow. So we take our concerns up in prayer, and we also take our celebrations in unity. And so I know we have a lot of warm feelings for them. So in our prayer time today, we'll uphold blessings for them. And so friends, I invite you to take up your normal posture of prayer. Infinite presence, we uphold that as people that are not separate from the power and presence of God, we have access to every divine attribute we need to navigate life's most difficult and celebrate life's most wonderful when it's the most wonderful. And so for those who need it, we uphold they have access to and manifest divine wisdom, intelligence, strength, beauty, and peace in navigating their journey. And we uphold that for every celebration it is buoyed by joy and love. And we pray this in the many precious names. Amen.
This song by Karen Shawker, In Beauty May I Walk, is about walking through life in forgiveness and in peace. And you know what? It's got a really good beat if you'd like to tap your foot along. All right, here we go. In beauty may I walk all day long. May I walk through the seasons. May I walk in peace. May I walk I walk at any age. May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. May I walk, 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 may I walk in peace. May I walk in peace, in joy. May I walk in love. May I walk in gratitude. May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace, in stillness. May I walk in forgiveness. May I walk in loving kindness. May I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. May I walk, 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 may I walk in peace. May I walk in peace. May you walk in peace. May we walk in peace.
Thank you. That was very nice.
In the midst of his children, the Lord said that he would be. It doesn't take very many. It can be just 2 or 3. And I feel that same sweet spirit that I've felt oft times before. Surely I can say I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel his mighty power and his praise. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel his mighty power and his praise. I can hear the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
My friends, today in the tradition of upholding some traditions from the Buddhist teachings in honor of our friend and Path Lighters facilitator Jean Tarlin, I just invite you to take up whatever position is most comfortable to you as we engage in a loving kindness meditation. I invite you, if you'd like, to close your eyes, or if that doesn't feel safe, you may simply lower your gaze or focus on something in the room. And just take a moment to detect any areas of tension in your body. And imagine an extension of your breath going through that area of tension, releasing that tension. there's no need to change the nature of your breath. Just extend it a little bit through that area. And as you notice a sense of release and ease and relaxation, picture yourself in a circumstance where you're happy, maybe smiling, and full of self-love. Perhaps it's a memory or something you encounter every week. Send those feelings of love and kindness and peace and ease to yourself. Perhaps think of one thing that you really like about yourself. And say to yourself these words. May I have loving kindness. May I have strength. May I have peace and love and success and the strength to overcome all obstacles. And imagine a person you know sitting opposite with you. Extend that feeling to them and those sensations to them. May you have loving kindness. May you have strength and peace and love and success. And may you have the strength to overcome all obstacles. Imagine the energy of this blessing surrounding you both, filling this room and extending into the world. May you have loving kindness. May you have strength, peace, love, and success. May you have the strength to overcome all obstacles and navigate life gracefully. And consider those feelings and blessings and extend it into the silence. And as you bathe in the warmth of loving kindness, before we come back from our meditation, just notice what's noticing these feelings of love and warmth and loving kindness. Notice what is observing you in your body and recognize that self-awareness is peaceful, still part of you that witnesses everything throughout your day without judgment. Be aware that this is your day-long in and out companion, and you have access to your inner observer. And when you feel ready, I invite you to bring your awareness to this room, to look around and remember this experience throughout your day, sharing this loving kindness with all the people that you encounter.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
so much for this opportunity to be with you today. Thank you so much for celebrating my promotion with me today. Just about everybody walked up to me and said something very kind today. I'm sorry I can't get up here more often. As you know, I live very far south. But I am with you every Sunday online. And I feel your love, and I feel your energy, and just know that your online community is with you too. Some people who live as far away as different countries or in the valley and things like that. So there's more to us than just us. And just know that there's an expansive experience of Unity of Birdie out there in the world. And I'm so profoundly grateful for the energy that you put out there into the world. So, we're talking about navigating forgiveness today. And the reason why I chose forgiveness as a topic is the 4th of July is coming up. And forgiveness can be a very liberating experience that helps us feel free. Now, and it's also very tricky. And I can't cover everything there is to do with forgiveness in one Sunday. So, please keep that in mind. We're going to narrow our focus pretty much to when someone has wronged us, okay? But that does not minimize the importance of self-forgiveness and forgiveness in community and all the different aspects of forgiveness there are. So I'm going to start by telling you something that a Unity minister told me many years. It was one of these little phrases. Don't you just love these little new thought phrases we have? We tend to speak in absolutes, right? Which really works for us until until I hit a certain circumstance. And this is what the minister said to me, and generally holds true, but there came a point for me where it didn't. And she said, evil is always an optional experience. So that mostly jives, right? Especially when we consider the Unity understanding of evil, that it's a state of consciousness. And if by any chance, if you're online and you're new to Unity, what we mean by consciousness, just read that consciousness can be a tricky word. Let's understand that today as awareness, all right? And there's a huge theological spectrum, though, of the way evil is understood. And I love unities because it does make it mostly a choice. The other definition of unity, or of evil, that I've incorporated into my personal theology is Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's understanding, is that we encounter evil anytime there's an injustice, which isn't very different than the way we look at it, right? Now, co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore, wrote in the Revealing Word that evil is that which is not God, unreality, error thought, and a product of fallen human consciousness. Not that different, right? Injustice, fallen human consciousness falls under that category. But we also could go, all right, as long as I choose my thoughts super carefully, I'll never experience evil, correct? Evil is always an optional experience. Okay, so if that's what works for you, I'm not here to burst your bubble. However, the longer I live, the more experiences I have, sometimes these thoughts need to be flushed out a little bit more. Then evil is always an optional experience, right? I mean, what if evil chooses me and I walk right into it? And it's a possibility for any of us. Now, am I horrible to question this? Oh my gosh, am I a bad Unity? No. Thankfully, Unity and New Thought is a place where questioning is a good thing. As a matter of fact, from what I can tell, Unity has an expectation of spiritual evolution. Our thoughts and feelings and ideas about divine principle and the way things work in the world spiritually and within change over a lifetime. And that's not my idea. That's in a book by Reverend Ellen Davenport entitled The 5 Principles. And further, I'm not the only person who's observed this, but Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, had a very large, broad body of work, right? And to read each and every book, if you've done that, and if you have, I love you, that's amazing. That's a lot of books. And it's also an experience in witnessing spiritual evolution. His latter works sometimes contradict his earlier works. And that's okay, because unity is what? People. Early Jesus movement, people. People in community trying to figure out things out and make meaning of their lives. And that's what's beautiful about spiritual community, isn't it not? Right? You were just in here before church exploring the 21 skills of emotional intelligence. Spiritual intelligence, sorry. And I heard some discussion in there that was emotionally honest and beautiful, and people realizing things about their world and working it out. We were talking about a worldview, right? That kind of influences our perception and how people have different perceptions. So one of the things I've been figuring out is forgiveness lately. And although not the same as reconciliation, forgiveness is really important in just about every relationship we're going to have in our lives. And I want to make this abundantly clear, and I may make this abundantly clear more than once. And the reason I bring this to your attention is because one of the things I do, on top of serving at Connolly Memorial Medical Center, is I am a first responder chaplain. And I belong to an area team that is dedicated to responding to first responders in the event of a critical incident, which is, watch the news in the morning. You'll see plenty of them, okay? It can be something as simple as a really bad call where it was very, very emotional, to something that impacts an entire town. And those of us that serve on this team get training from the National Critical Incident Foundation. 90% of us will experience a trauma in our lifetime. What's the key to navigating out of a trauma? Well, a lot of stuff, including forgiveness. It's one of many, many, many tools. So I'm here today to try to help equip us all with navigating what is very different in here than out there, but guess what? We get to navigate that world. So, there's a big difference between forgiveness and reconciliation, right? Let's look at reconciliation real quick, just so that we know what the difference is. The Oxford Dictionary says it's the restoration of friendly relations. And some of the most wonderful life experiences I've had is when I've really thought about a situation and decided, ooh, I really screwed up, and went to the person and made amends and said, how can I make this up to you? But it's when we're faced with the prospect of forgiving someone who's not seeking reconciliation, or reconciliation is sometimes not a safe option, that's when the spiritual rubber meets the road. We can't go up to them and say something like that. And it's getting to be more common. So what exactly does it mean to forgive? Well, I love this definition from Greater Good magazine. Psychologists generally define forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of vengeance or resentment toward a person or group who has harmed you, regardless of whether or not they actually deserve your forgiveness. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't do things like pursue justice, okay? Lots of differences here, lots of nuances to it. Now, Charles Fillmore adds to this. he describes it as a process. He says it's a process of giving up the false for the true, erasing sin and error from the mind and body. You know, it's very tempting to think of forgiveness because we often address things in prayer in unity and then move on, right? That's our way. Sometimes we address it over and over again. But optimally, we address it in prayer, and then we let the universe have its way, right? We affirm knowing, right? And forgiveness is, I think, is a little different because Charles Fillmore said it's a process. And it's been told to me more than once by more than one teacher that Charles Fillmore had a practice every single night of forgiveness, of going through his day and forgiving anything that needed to be forgiven. To me, it sounds like he was taking a personal inventory every night. Emily Cady is like forgiveness on wheels, on a motorcycle. Revs it up, okay? She says to forgive doesn't mean we just arrive at a place of indifference to those who do personal injury to us. It means far more than this. To forgive is to give to give some kind of actual, definite good in return for evil given. And her definition is a very interesting turn in the road of navigating forgiveness. Because if you read any amount of articles or books online or other places about forgiveness, you'll see it's often described as an inner process. And Miss Cady seems to imply there's a little bit more to it. And one of my favorite Unity resources is truthunity.net. And Mark Hicks has a little blog on there. And he had this thought about what Emily Cady says. He says that she quotes the well-known root definition for metaphysical forgiveness, to give for. And for the metaphysician, we often give good for evil. That what is given is a higher state of consciousness. If somebody cuts us off in traffic, we give them a blessing, right? You hear that often in unity circles. And Emily Cady certainly agrees, but she seems to go further. She says that we must give some kind of actual definite good in return for evil given. And that actual definite good may not be explicit, but it is my sense that Emily Cady is calling us to a higher standard of forgiveness, one in which our actual definite giving extends beyond consciousness into the physical affairs of our lives. There's a guy on social media named Michael Threets who I really love. He's a librarian. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen him, but this dude has so much enthusiasm for libraries and what he calls library kids. And I can relate. I was one of those kids hanging out in the library as a kid, geeking out, right? Reading all kinds of books. And he was that way. So he went to school and learned to be a librarian. And now he spreads something he calls library joy online. And if you've ever seen him, his affect is so sweet and so kind. And his hair is amazing. So not too long ago, I think this was in December of last year, somebody got on X, which used to be Twitter, posted one of his videos and said, people are getting weirder. That's pretty rude, but then it just spiraled. People started really hurling insults at this sweet, good-natured guy who just wants to spread library joy. They even said at one point that he might be a danger to children. Now, he could have handled it any number of ways, but he went ahead and got online and he made a video. And he talked about offering these people compassion, even though he was feeling horrible. And he taught about reacting to these kinds of insults by kindness and with empathy. And he said this to the people who insulted them. He said, well, I hope they have a much better day tomorrow, and I hope they experience kindness. I hope they experience joy. And I hope they remember they still belong at the library. And I hope better days are ahead of them. He didn't try to reconcile directly with the people, but he responded empathetically in a way that was well beyond his consciousness. He went into the wild world of social media, my friends. That takes some courage. To me, he's a brilliant example of navigating forgiveness. He turned everything around with those statements, entirely changing the story and his journey. And I'm really proud of him for not trying to reconcile. A lot of people in social media try to engage, and that's pretty useless stuff. All he did is move that digital conversation and did exactly what ILLLI Katie recommends that we do. Now, does that actual good in return for evil given that ILLLI Katie talks about need to be directed at the giver of said evil like Michael did? I don't necessarily think so. I mean, I've tried to practice some of this myself. And the other day, not too long ago, I gotta say, yeah, it was a few months ago, I was still working part-time. I hadn't had my promotion yet. I was feeling a lot better in my recovery, looking for work. And it's pretty easy to feel sorry about yourself and go down some negative roads. And I started stewing over an old hurt with a person who had passed away. You know? I mean, yeah, I see some smiles. It's relatable. We all do it, right? And I was like, oh, that's no good. And then I remembered that there was a young lady in my orbit who had twin 14-month-old babies and a 5-year-old. And she had told me the day before that they were all homesick. And I was like, oh, how miserable. We all know the young mom, well, not all of us, but a lot of us women know the young mom experience. And it's pretty frazzling. When they're sick, it's miserable. And the chores all fall by the wayside, don't they? You know, everything gets dirty. You're just very busy taking care of them. So I thought to pick up the phone and call her and say, hey, why don't you let me pick up your laundry and take it to the laundromat for you? And she said, sure. So on my way out the door, I was like, ooh. My husband's man cave is very close to the door. He has a little man cave where he, you know, watches his videos and does his thing, and the curtains were very dingy. So I got up very safely on a stepladder, got those down, and threw them in my car too. And I went to the laundromat. When I got to the laundromat, by the time I had picked up all that laundry, I got in there, and usually people are pretty quiet in the laundromat, but there was like this super friendly, chatty person. You know, there always, sometimes is one, you know, and I engaged with her. And I helped this other lady she had a big load of sheets and pillows and carry her stuff out there. Do you think I was thinking about that old hurt while I was doing that? Not at all. ILLLI Katie presents to us a great formula for forgiveness, success in navigating that road. Now, Charles Fillmore tells us the process. Am I going to need to do that more than once? Surely. You know, there is some scriptural guidance for when we encounter evil. And I'm going to find it right here. The writer of the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 39, conveys that Jesus said, but I say to you, do not resist an evildoer. If anyone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other also. There's not much instruction afterwards. Sometimes in the scriptures, it's not about what's said, but what isn't said. So we can look at this in a way, and I saw a minister actually do this online, like what actually physically happens to us when we're struck, right? We're looking in this direction if we're hit hard enough, right? The whole body goes that way. So what happens if we turn the other cheek? We're in a whole new direction. Does anywhere in the scripture say you need to stay with that person, in that person's orbit? No. You can navigate in a whole new direction. And perhaps in the direction of doing good for evil rendered. I will share one little poem, not poem, it's a prayer, I'm sorry, that has been helping me as I navigate forgiveness, because there's many practices that help us support forgiveness, such as practicing empathy or writing, catharsis, writing out a letter, trying to see the other person's point of view. And even if it's a traumatic enough event, and what occurred, if that's impacting your daily life, without a doubt, approaching a counselor is not a bad thing to do. And luckily here at Unity of Birdie, we have a pastoral counselor, our fearless leader. And he's a wonderful, wonderful counselor. So those are all things you can kind of try on. And then here's a little prayer that I've been saying I modified it from the handbook of positive prayer. And this is what I pray. In a human sense, there has been pain and suffering between us. In the highest sense, the truth is there's nothing between us but the principle of love. I know the truth now and have peace, and I am grateful, and so it is. Amen. I only say those words when I can buy into them, y'all. But when I can buy into them, that is a very, very powerful prayer that has helped me move on. Just remember that forgiveness is not typically a one and done thing. It may be for you. Charles Fillmore called it a process. And I think it's a process that takes time and effort, and a lifelong journey, a pilgrimage. And I have every confidence that you will navigate it well. I thank you for listening. Namaste. Okay, time for our offering. All right, friends, I invite you to take your offering out and hold it in your hands as we say our offering blessing. Or if you're donating digitally, I just invite you to use your imagination and imagine those dollar bills in digital land being uploaded through PayPal at the top of our PayPal button. Or you may send a check. And unlike Reverend Jay, I do not have the address of this place memorized. So I'm going to tell you where you can go and get it if you want to do a donation. You can go to unityofbernie.org, scroll all the way down, and our address and telephone number and directions to us are all at the bottom of the page, thanks to our wonderful webmaster, Tom. So take your offering in your hand, and let's do our offering blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I send it forth with my blessing and my love.
Freely, freely I have received. Freely, freely I give. Divine love through me blesses all that I am, all that I give and receive. Freely, freely I have received. Freely, freely I give. Divine love through me blesses all that I am, all that I give and receive. All that I give and receive.
Friends, I invite you to join hands and let's sing a peace song.
Wait, we have another song first.
Oh, we have another song. I forgot it. Oh, yes. Sorry.
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
My apologies. Y'all are a little different than most churches that way.
and it's beautiful.
One way or another. Good people. And I just want to say thank you before we go off the air today. It was really nice having you with us, especially to welcome in one of our own and one of the leaders of our Pathfinder group, Reverend Birdie Shawker. And what a great message that was. Forgiveness is paramount. In all of Christ's teachings, you can see the evidence of this. So wherever you tune in and get your spiritual nutrition, keep in mind that we're all God's children. We're all slightly different, and no two of us stand in the same place, nor can we see with the same exact eyes. So it's important that I respect, reach out to enjoy your concepts that give depth and breadth to my own. Thank you so much again for joining us here for another Sunday experience at Unity of Birdie. And we'll be here next week and the week after that. We'll be here for you. You can send in your prayers and get some support with that by just sending them to information at unityofburning.org and get online and private message us at our Facebook account. We'll get this moved around and we'll get some prayer support for you and the people that you feel needed as well. Thank you so much again for joining us. May your week be totally fulfilled. Goodbye from now from all of us here at Unity of Birdie.